And I'm live. Well, this is a second attempt to get John Laun in here to basically uh, have a civil discussion, hopefully. I've had a bad history of conversations with John Laun. If you go to my channel, you can see various videos that I've done. I think I made two videos about him. There was one offline conversation that I had in just um, a Google Hangout that was not on air. So there's no record of that one, and that was by John Laun's choice. Typically, I don't start a hangout before inviting the person. In this case, uh, I should say I don't typically start the hangout until the person has arrived. Um, kind of made an exception in this case. I've already sent him the link to this hangout. So John Laun has the power to join at any time. The time that he gave me yesterday and said that we would be able to do the hangout was 5 p.m. Eastern time, and it is right now 5:07 Eastern. It's 4:07 by my time and in U.S. Central Time. I mean, what can I say? He has engaged with me on a number of occasions, both in hangouts and well, I guess just once in a hangout, but mostly in comment threads, which is I think where we first both encountered one another. The last video that I recorded, well, I recorded one yesterday, just a very brief one. Was that even about John Laun? I'm not even sure. Anyways, but there was quite a lengthy one. That was a 40-minute video, just me explaining the interaction that I had with him and my frustration with John Laun, simply because he was not a man of his word, and we'll see if he can follow through with that today. John, here in this thread, let's see, let's go back to this one. He had, well, let's start on this one actually. So I reviewed my conversation with him, the one that took place offline, and kind of gave an explanation of who he was. I'd never heard of him before that, really, other than maybe had a couple of interactions on in comment threads on some video or something, or a post, I don't know what, but that's how we encountered each other, got into a video chat, and I told him, we can make this a live video, or we can leave it off air. He said he preferred to leave it off air, so we didn't air it. I made a video discussing just making some general comments and observations about the conversation afterward. And John Laun left a message on that video saying, "I noticed that you did not want another hangout. What are you afraid of?" And basically I told him, it's because you're annoying, not because you're intimidating or in any way some kind of successful debater who is doing something that, whatever. And even if he was somebody that showed me that I was wrong, or that I didn't have any ground to stand on, that's fine. I'm willing to change my position. I don't hold dogmatically to atheism. I'm willing to be shown that I'm wrong and that I'm mistaken. But his whole focus is on trying to poke holes in my quote unquote worldview, and acting as if his is the only other alternative, if there are holes in mine, and any holes that he perceives in my worldview, he wants to try and claim that one, his worldview doesn't suffer from those same kinds of holes, and two, that if there are holes in your worldview, that you have to abandon the whole thing, whole cloth, and and that's the only alternative. when clearly that's mistaken. But we had a lengthy conversation in the threads after he posted that on my video, and what ended up happening was, he didn't want to have another hangout. So it wasn't my fear or whatever. I offered him, and you can read through those comments. That video was called "My Conversation with Presupper John Laun," and you can read through that lengthy. There's something like 58 comments, 59 comments on that one. This one was the one. There were 79 on this one, and I think there was another comment thread that also involved Trey Jadlow, and that one had more than 100. I didn't even bring that one up. And part of the problem was that John couldn't figure out how to follow a single comment thread and look back. I think I don't know what he does. I don't know what interface that he's using, if he's just going through Google and responding by notifications that he gets through his Google Gmail or something like that. I don't know. But it was really frustrating because, along one comment thread, he would be responding to something that was happening in the other comment thread. And he just couldn't seem to get it straight. I kept leaving links. I said, this conversation is happening over here. Please keep the comments and your replies all in line with the one comment thread on one post. Ugh. Anyways, but this is really the important thing right here. John Laun, we can begin a conversation here on the condition that you agree to reciprocate answering my questions as I answer yours. I will begin with that question. Will you reciprocate answering as many questions of mine as I answer of yours? If you answer yes, then we can proceed. And he said, I will answer your questions if you answer mine. And then he's requiring syllogisms and goes through his whole circus bit. So the other video, this one, John Laun, the dishonest coward, was posted at the end of that lengthy and obnoxious thread of comments. And what he did is he asked many, many more questions than I ever asked him. And each time I kept a tally. I said, you've asked this many questions. Are you prepared to respond? And I gave him a list, of responses. I basically said, here are the responses. And now it's time for me to ask you a question. I tried to ask him one question. My question to John Laun was, is your God omniscient? And he refused to answer. He couldn't even answer one question. So he in essence lied that he was willing to reciprocate. And if he comes in today, I will. We're not going to even begin with him asking me any questions. If he does decide to show up, he's a quarter of an hour late. I would have been here, in fact, a few minutes early. So, but my computer crashed on me, and I had to restart and log back in and everything. But I'm not answering any of his questions until he either he concedes that he lied and did not answer questions as he said that he would, or he follows through with his initial commitments in that other conversation thread. We'll wait around a few minutes longer, I guess. I really have very little patience with John Laun, just for the fact that, he just does not. He's not a man of his word, and he's a pastor, which is another thing. If he's a pastor, I think he's a snaky, horrible person. If I was attending his church and I knew that he was behaving as he behaves on the internet, I would, at the very least, I mean, if he didn't have other flaws, I would at the very least approach him back when I was a Christian and say, "Hey, pastor, this is not right. You need to be a man of your word, because it reflects badly on our deity, I suppose, when you behave this way." I don't know, John. Are you going to show up? I'm going to try and send the link to him once more here. Copy the link. Go back out here. And send it to John Laun. Oops, John Laun. There he is. Paste link in. Hello, John. Where are you? This was the time we agreed upon. So this is the second time I've sent him the link. Don't know if he's going to show or not. One of the other things that he has said to me is that he likes this presuppositionalist apologetic because he thinks that when young people are armed with that and understand that as a scriptural foundation for defending their faith, that when they go into college, that they will come away with it, with their faith intact, I suppose. And I've urged him and suggested to him that the ability to be critical of someone else's ideas and things is only one part of the equation when you're in college. You also have to be able to expose your own beliefs to the same kind of critical scrutiny that you aim at other people's ideas and beliefs. That's a part of the college experience. And it's one of the things that really, as I went through college myself, it became apparent to me that there was a pattern among Christian apologists, like John Laun and others, who believed or at least acted like they had no responsibility at all to explain or justify their beliefs, but that everyone else in the world had to give an account and be able to explain absolutely every question. Well, we can't explain every question. Nobody can, and they can't either. But the big difference between what I believe and the questions that are left for me unanswered, and the questions that are left for Christians unanswered is there's a huge gulf of questions that you can't even begin to answer with Christianity and the Bible. And there's a small set with a more secular worldview, and they can be profound questions, and it can leave you with question marks and saying, wow, it's the case that I can't necessarily justify a lot of things, and that if I am wrong about some of these core fundamental things, I could be very wrong about a whole lot of things. And it's a worry. These are philosophical problems that have been discussed and debated, and answers have been posed for centuries. But pretending that you have an answer and pretending that your answer is bulletproof doesn't get you the answer, doesn't get you the respect, and it doesn't get you the reality. It's just playing pretend. And that becomes very apparent when you have apologists who dip and dodge and deflect hither and yon. I don't know, John. It looks like he's going to be a no-show. It's somewhat disappointing. Maybe we'll try to reschedule. I don't know. But we're 21 minutes in, give or take. And this is probably pretty boring, just sitting here listening to me. We'll see. Let me check my messages real quick before I bail on this completely. And see what... Oh, Monday, he says, not Sunday. Well, okay, well... I had another appointment scheduled for Monday night. I was supposed to meet with Trey Jadlow. Let me see what his comment was on that, because I was almost positive that he said Sunday. Oh, where is that? Come back over here. Goodness. If I can find this, and I'm right, I don't see where it says. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Trolling with Reason had another conversation with John Laun. Goodness. The other thing is he thinks that he's constantly like in some kind of game where there's a winner or a loser. That's just ridiculous. I suppose I can share this so that it's not completely lost here. Where is it? So anyways, I'm looking to try to find the time that he gave me. I don't know. I don't see it on here at all. I know that there was one. It must have been in a different thread, or maybe he posted it on a video. Let me take a look over here real quick just to see. I did record a video regarding him. This one, come out wherever you are. Let's see, review comments. John Laun. No, not on there either. I don't know. Well, I guess that's it for today. Good grief. I'm probably just going to delete this one then. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, this is kind of fizzled out here. Um, I'm just annoyed that we've had apparently a mix-up in times, and that it's not going to be over tonight because I really just wanted to get this out of the way. Anyhow, I guess John, if you want to jump in, uh, well, if whenever we meet again, John, you're going to have to answer questions. Otherwise, you're just going to get booted and it's over. Because I'm not gonna tolerate the just two-faced and dishonesty that you've displayed in the past. I'm done. And after that, if you can't have a civil and two-way conversation where both participants both respond to and ask questions, then I'm just going to block you because I just don't have time to deal with it, um, and it's apparent. Um, I left a church because they had a guest come in who spoke about uh, creation theory. I suppose it was just creationism. There's not even a theory behind it, but and he came to speak to the youth group, um, and I was a believer at the time. I was a very devout Christian, um, but I believed that evolution was good science. Having studied it in college, both at a Christian university and at a secular state university, um, uh, as well as just in high school and whatnot. Um, the science is on the side of evolution, and Christians can squirm and wriggle about that, or fundamentalists anyhow. And I was at a fundamentalist church because I did believe that the Bible was infallible. I didn't necessarily at the time believe that it was inerrant, but that it held kind of eternal truths, I guess, so to speak. Um, and it bothered me that the church was presenting these creationist ideas to the youth. Not that it was being presented, period, but that it was being presented without any counterpoint to it at all, and that there was no evolution uh, theory and a Christian understanding of evolution brought to the youth group. I was invited to sit in with the youth group, and I asked two or three questions of the kind of evangelist, I suppose, during that first session. And this was some multiple week kind of course or whatever. And when it was over, I was asked not to ask any more questions. I was bottled up. I was told I was told that I was welcome back to attend and listen, but that I was not permitted to ask any questions. Um, and this is the same kind of thing that you're doing. In further conversations with that pastor, I was told we'll be able to sit down perhaps and have a panel discussion on the creation narrative in Genesis, and in that scenario, then for the grown-ups, we don't want to necessarily expose the kids. I was pulling out my hair, and on top of that, that panel discussion never happened. I was told at the beginning of the year that we would be able to do this. That came around and it never happened, and I was disgusted, just for the fact that this was one more example, to me, that the church could not stand up to rigor um, and couldn't defend its own position. So, and that's exactly the kind of thing that John Laun is doing. And and if his goal is to bolster the faith of the kids in his church or whatever, he is doing a piss poor job of it, because as soon as they determine that they want to actually study and learn whether or not their beliefs are true, and they begin to scrutinize and evaluate their beliefs with the same kind of critical eye that they are evaluating other people's beliefs, they'll discover all of the holes and problems, and it will fall apart. Which, from my perspective, is great. But it's annoying to have you come on and be jumping all over the internet with your caps lock problem. And anyhow, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll do this tomorrow night and get things straightened out. Ugh. Good night.